Audio Jungle.
Oh yeah! What do you get when you put four of the most opinionated grown-ass single men on one show? You get the Middle-Aged Still Single podcast! Let's meet the crew!
Audio Jungle.
Mitchell! Nasir!
Audio Jungle.
Nemo! Big Rob! Let's get it!
What up, people? This is Nas with Mass, Middle Age Still Single. If you like the content, hate, like, subscribe, but mostly subscribe. We appreciate the views. Keep following. Peace.
And welcome to, once again, the Middle Age Still Single podcast. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day, Megan.
Thank you.
I have my normal partners in crime. We have Mitch, we have Nas, and we have Nemo, and we have a very special guest from
Happy Mother's Day, Megan.
Thank you
from
very
the
much.
East Coast.
Yep.
From the East Coast. I met Megan on a Facebook group for single medical professionals, and very happy to have her. Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, thank you for having me. So my name is Megan. Like you said, I am a nurse and I work right outside north of Boston. I was born and raised in Massachusetts, and just, trying to get myself and my head right back in the dating game. I was married for about 7 years. Now I've been divorced for about 5, and it's different at 40. You can't go to the bar scene anymore and just see what's out there. It's like you have the baggage, you have your kids, you have the situations with, like, my ex is not the most reliable. So, finding people who understand that it's like, sometimes I can make time for a date, sometimes I can't. And then just, the ongoing vetting of people. I've certainly had my ups and downs, and then it's just overall like a learning process for yourself. So I've learned so much in like the 5 years I've been single that in the beginning I dated and I got into relationships that, looking back on them, it's like, what was I thinking? And, in hindsight, I can see that I just wanted attention. I was so used to being in like a partnership and everything. And it was like, I wanted that back. And I tolerated like a lot more than I shouldn't have. And it was like, I always say, some attention to me or bad attention was better than no attention. So it was like, I put up with a lot that now I'm like, what was I thinking? So now it's, getting into the mindset of, no, I don't want to be alone, but I know I can be. And I'd rather be alone than putting up with, things that I don't want and things that are just not good for me and in my lifestyle right now. So that's where I'm at right now.
So as a nurse, do you work nights? Do you work days?
I work days. I work 3/12, so I work 7A to 7P. And, the days, I'm lucky, the hospital that I work at right now, we're pretty well staffed that I work every 3 weekends. So like every third weekend is the weekend I work. And my schedule comes out, like it is a rotating schedule, but I know my schedule at least a month in advance. So, and it's pretty fair. I'm picking up overtime and everything, but, so it's a challenge in itself, but that's probably the most stable part of my life, ironically enough, right now.
Okay. So when I've been on like dating apps, I noticed that nurses and medical professionals tend to make up a very high percentage of the people on the apps. Why is it that nurses, I would think that nurses would be the first person that a guy would be attracted to as far as like, wanting to have a relationship with? I mean, why is it that so many nurses are single?
I think it's that, like, we deal with crazy every day, right? So, and I think it's like, we like to call ourselves, or I look at my job as I'm a detective. We all have to, like, I work in the emergency room, so I have to figure out what's wrong with you with the little bit of information you give me. And from what in the world of medicine, it's like, I could go get you in the waiting room. What you told your triage nurse, what you told me, and what you told the doctor are going to be 3 different stories sometimes. So it's
That's
like
true. Hmm.
what I see is a lot of us are on dating apps. Number one, I think because we don't, between the pandemic and everything, we don't have the time or the energy to just go out and put ourselves out there in the bars or whatever. And I feel like I'm too old to do that. I feel like I go to a bar and I could be like a grandmother or something, to like the kids there. But at the same time, too, I think it's like a quick, easy way for me to weed through the crap of people, of their profiles that I see. Like, if I could tell you the amount of people are like, oh, you want to come check me out? Because I really could use a nurse to take care of me. Or could you come listen to my heart or whatever? And it's like, guys, you got to come up with something better than that. I was like, if I had a
Yeah.
penny for every time I got one of those lines, I'm like, nope. Next, I almost I've gotten to the point on some dating apps that I lose the pictures of the scrubs. I don't say what I do for a living, and it's just for that exact reason.
I got you. Mitch, you got any
Right.
question for our friend Megan?
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
I fully understand where you're coming from. I come from a family of medical professionals.
Mm-hmm.
There's several nurses in my family, all of them married. I have some friends who are nurses who actually went through the dating services
Mm-hmm.
as nurses.
Yeah.
Unlike my family, they married before they became nurses, and I fully understand it's the scheduling,
Yeah.
and it's the going out, and when you work 12, 15-hour days, 4 in a row, you're exhausted. You don't want to go out and play that game.
Right.
Yeah, so I understand that because my friends who I find to be quality women, I couldn't understand why they were on dating sites
Right.
until you brought that forward of why you were there. And it makes complete and total sense to me
Mm-hmm.
that between the time and what you deal with all the time, going out's not an option.
Right.
So it hasn't worked out for you. So my question is, are you attracting the wrong people because your bio needs some tweaking, or are you attracting the wrong people because of something else?
You know what? Sometimes I think it's a little of both, honestly, but I also, and I'm very open and receptive to that. Like, it's difficult. I'm in such a weird situation. Like, I have my like coworker friends that they're acquaintances and know a little bit about my life, but then I have like a core chunk of friends that, quite honestly, we've been friends since I was probably 6 years old. But it's like to go to them and be like, hey, can you look into this for me? And what am I missing? But those are my friends that are happily married and are like out of the dating scene for 20 years. And it's like, what are they? They're like, I don't know. I got nothing for you because
Yeah,
we,
can't help
we
you.
met our husbands in college or like in the natural way. And I think it's a little of both. I think it's that I I like to believe, and I feel like I always say like the same thing. People are like, "Oh, what's your strength? What's your weakness?" And I say it's kind of the same thing. Like, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt until you give me a reason not to. Like, if you're coming at me on a dating app and saying, "I want a relationship, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that," well, I'd like to believe that you are. And it's just, there's so many guys and it's so exhausting that I'm looking for this. I want this. I want, I want everything. I want to start over. I've gotten to the point of being very good of like, I will no longer now entertain a man that doesn't have children. And it's nothing against people without kids, but it's honestly, one guy that sticks out in my head was a man who didn't have kids, and I'm very open about my situation. I'm like, hey, I have a very supportive family, but my kid's dad is not always around. If I'm making time for you, understand that my time is very limited sometimes in between, like you said, work. After 3 12s in a row, I'm dead to the world. It takes me a day to recover sometimes. But I'll say there's going to be times where my kids are always going to come first. Whether a sitter cancels or one of them gets sick, it is what it is. And if you can't handle that, then, we're not a good fit for each other. And there was one guy like, no, I completely get that. I understand. Kids always first. And until the time came, time for us to hang out one night. One of my kids got sick and he was like, I don't think this is going to work. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I cannot date somebody who can't commit to their plans with me. And I was like,
That was after one
one
time?
time, right? And it's like, I have like I have a
Wow.
niece network, right, of babysitters because I have nieces everywhere besides my family, and it's like I'll go through the list before I cancel. Like that's a last resort thing. So I ended up saying to the guy, like, you know what? You don't want to date that. I don't want to date somebody who expects after such a short time, or in general, me to put you in front of my children when I'm very open about that. So to like,
Right.
to go back to your question, it's like maybe my profile does need help. Maybe I am, I jokingly say to my friends, I see the red flags and sometimes I think they're pink or like sometimes I'm colorblind, but it's just, I was saying to one of my friends the other day, like, I really don't know how many what's your favorite color conversations I have left in me, and it's like, I ask myself all the time, am I a hopeless romantic or am I a glutton for punishment with these things? Like,
Yeah, it's
mm-hmm.
rough. Rough.
Yeah.
Grown men are asking you what your favorite
Don't
color
even
is?
get me started, okay? Like, but what's your favorite color? What kind of ice cream you like? And I'm like, boys, I can't. You know what I mean? I can't do this.
Dating really no dating
It's
sucks
awful.
so bad. Like the process
It's
of getting to know
awful.
Yeah,
somebody.
And
the
then getting to
process,
the
Oh
point
my
yeah.
of like,
god.
it gets to the point where it's just like, you know, I'm always I used to be a psych nurse. Maybe this has a lot to do with it. And it's like, I'm very much like, hey, not everyone's going to vibe, but it's like, just say that. Like, we don't work out this and that. Go your separate ways. I'm not asking you to stay my best friend, but like, don't go into asking me my deepest, darkest secrets. And then, you feel some type of way, but and then leave or not say anything. And I say, here we are victims even more so to the world of instant gratification. Like I joke about my kids, they don't understand what it's like when, a game's not available or this or that. And it's like, hey, guess what? When I was a kid, I used to have to go to the store and rent a movie. And if it wasn't there, we didn't get it. So I joke about dating apps
Pick
and
something
I
else.
say,
Mhm.
the world of instant gratification now in dating apps is scary because it's like when you get to a point where I might not be available for a night because my kids are sick, or you might not be able to do this or that one time, or if I say something that you don't like, they're going to click onto that app and they're going to swipe right to the next new shiny thing.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true. But that's just kind of the way society is right now. I
right,
mean, that's kind of the way we've gone. Even people of our age, of middle age, yeah, we kind of have to live by these new rules of engagement
right,
here. The Tinder and the Bumble.
exactly.
But that's what drives us crazy. I think that's what drives a lot of us out of the dating world itself, because the way we learn how to date is not how we date
Right,
now.
right. And it's just like it gets to the point of like, I feel then it's like I get into my head like, well, are they not going to like me because of my kids? And that's where I go back to saying I won't entertain a guy anymore that doesn't have kids because they don't get it. And I've had, my whole dating experience in dating apps hasn't been awful. Like I met some really good guys that for one reason or another it didn't work out, or I've learned, like I said, I've learned a lot of lessons, and the fact that you know, what I should and shouldn't be doing or what I should and shouldn't be looking for. But I haven't cracked the code. I don't know the cheat code and I don't know when it's going to happen. But it's like I've had some real life, like awful traumatic experiences too. Like I had a guy like roofie me on a date from a dating app. Yeah. And it's like, I look back and it's like, this is the world we live in. Like, I'm very conscious about things. And I just remember, like, at one point, like, I'm protective of myself and I'm in the world now that we live in that three of my friends always have my location on my phone. And I'm like, hey, this is the dude I'm going out with. This is where I'm going to be. You have my location on my phone. And they're like, all right, at this time, I'm going to text you. I don't care what you do. And if you don't answer, I'm showing up. And I'll flat out tell the guys that. I'll be like, yo, my friends are going to text me at this time. So I am going to look at my phone because at least 3 of them know where I am. And if I don't answer, they're going to be rolling up here. So don't try to do anything funny. And there was a kid one day that, I had been talking to him for a couple weeks and we hadn't gone out on an official date, but it was one of the things that he kind of lived close to me and we ended up being around the same area. So we're like, hey, yeah, I'm here for a couple of drinks. Why don't we hang out? And I was with my sister and she ended up going home early. And I just remember I was like, man, something doesn't feel right. Like, I'm like, something about this is wrong. So I turned to him and I was like, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be back. And God, I do not know to this day. I don't remember how I got home. I don't know how I got home. I woke up on my bathroom floor. And I and I picked up my phone and it was 43 missed calls from him and like probably double that in text messages about where the F are you? Why did you leave? I'm so mad at you right now. And it's like, right, because you're mad at what you what you did, what your plan was didn't work. But it's like, that's the
Yeah,
life we live in. Like that's what we have to worry about right now. And I'm 40.
that's
And it's like it's
crazy.
awful. And I'm not saying girls won't do that to guys either, but it's like that's why I say to people, I'm not paranoid. I just know things happen and that's why you have that's the whole other element that you have to pull into these things now. You know?
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's
Wow.
that.
Sorry that
Yeah, I
happened.
know.
Yeah,
Definitely lesson learned.
that is tough.
Have you that? So obviously that's the worst date.
Yeah.
Have you now? What's the best date? Like what's the one date you say, man? You know what? If they could all be like that,
I think it's
everything would be
I think it's
wonderful.
just guys being attentive in general. I've had a couple guys that I ended up in like a couple, I'll say half a relationship in just because, there was one guy that sticks out to me that I met on a dating app and he lives halfway across the state. And it was just honestly a timing thing. Like I loved him with everything and he loved me. And it was just, from his dating traumas that he had growing through the past since his last relationship. Like he was never married, but he was with somebody for probably around 10 years and they helped raise his kid, but they did him dirty and, made him never want to trust a female again. And, you know, what he at one point said to me, I love you, but I can't give you what you deserve. And it was heartbreaking because I had such a connection with him because mine and his experience with our divorce and our children and everything was so real and we had such a level, like a deep connection, and he's still a very good friend of mine. But I'm not going to lie when I say, it hurts me to see him in a relationship now, just like in him telling me that I was the person who taught him that it's okay for him to be loved again and, what it feels like to be loved again. But it's like me and my friends have this old conversation like, okay, now I'm starting to think it's me. Like, what is it? You know what I mean? But it's like a lot of it, like I say, is I think a lot of it has to do with my availability. Like I meet a lot of great guys that want to hang out now or tomorrow. And it's like, I need like a 3-day notice or something because just with my situation with my kids, and it's real life and it sucks, but it's my cross to bear, right? Because it's not my kid's fault. It's not anyone else's fault. I had a broken picker for a long time and that's my life. And when my kids get older,
We all have.
and my kids get older and I'm able to go out more, but like they're my priority now.
Uh, uh, Megan, I also heard. I mean, you spoke about what guys want. I mean, I've listened to you, for a while now. You've always talked about what the guys want. They want this. They want that. What exactly do you want? I know you mentioned the last guy you had a good date was well, pay better
Yeah.
attention to you. was more intensive. What exactly do you want? What do you expect from
So
a guy?
I always it's like I feel like a broken record sometimes because when I get that question, I always get that question: what is it that you want, or what are you looking for? I'm not like I don't sugarcoat it. I want a partner. I want somebody who, when I'm having a bad day, you can pick up the slack for me and expect the same thing out of me when you're having an off day. I want somebody that's going to add to my life and not try and control it. Because you know what? I've had that experience. I've had the guys that have tried to pull me away from my friends and pull me away from my family. And I don't want that. My family and friends are what has gotten me to where I am now. And, I want the guy that listens to the fact that one day I'm like, oh, you asked me 3 months ago what my favorite ice cream was, and this is it. And I want that guy to show up at my work because I'm having a crappy day with a pint of that ice cream, because that would make me know that he was thinking of me,
That ice cream.
because that's what I would do in return for you.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's much. Like, I think a lot of the things that I'm asking for are the basics. Like, I don't want a dad for my kids. They have a dad. But what I do want is a positive male role model. I want somebody that, can laugh with me when it's time to be goofy, and that can be serious when we need to be, and that wants me to be the same for them. But again, I don't feel like when I see what some of these girls are like, a girl I work with was the other day talking about, well, this guy better understand that ring that he puts on my finger better be no less than $5,000. And I was like, I think my first wedding ring literally cost $75 because I'm not I'm not like that materialistic person. I think my whole entire wedding was less than $5,000 because I wanted to put the down payment on the house. The house I no longer have, but that's a story for another segment, right, guys?
Yeah, that's a whole nother
But
episode,
yeah,
Megan.
but that's
But it tells us where your head is at. That's
right,
good
and
thinking.
that's the whole thing. Like,
That's a responsible way of thinking.
and it's like I can dress up and have a fun night out on the town, but when it comes down to it, I'm a hoodie, baseball wearing hat girl that I would love to go to a game, sit and have some wings, and just deal with life as it comes. That other.
That sounds like the
Okay.
perfect
Tell
woman
me
that guys
about it.
want.
That
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
like Will's
Pretty
gonna.
much.
That's
Yeah.
Nice. Gentlemen, we have anything? We have any other questions for Miss Megan here?
You gotta, hey Megan, set your search parameters
Okay.
to Texas. I bet you, I guarantee you, I guarantee you, these Texas boys they'll come up there and show you how we
All
Southern
right.
boys do it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so Megan, so your main point of meeting somebody right now, because you're not going to the bars, is just mainly through the dating amps.
Yeah,
Is that
pretty
correct?
much it is. Yeah.
O-
Like, I'll go hang out with my friend. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
And
hang
so
out
you,
with my friends. Like, we'll go out to bars or like restaurants, like taverns or whatever on the weekends. And it's not that I'm like shut down from meeting a guy there. I just don't see, I'm this psychotic like Hawkeye that it's like, ooh, that guy's cute, wedding ring. Ooh, that that guy's cute, tan line on his hand, everything.
It's hard to meet like
Right, of
that now,
course.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, Megan. Listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time on Mother's Day. I appreciate you coming on, but I feel
Yeah,
like
thank you, Megan.
I feel like we could have a whole nother couple
That's right.
chapters
I'll be
with you.
here.
So
yes.
this
No,
is
right?
I'll be here
I
anytime.
know,
okay.
right? I like your energy, man.
You do.
Yes.
You know what?
Please come
and
back.
the fact that she's still positive
You gotta
about it,
be.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
listen, we will talk again. We appreciate you coming on, and we appreciate you tolerating us, and especially doing it on Mother's Day. When I
Yeah.
booked you, I forgot it was Mother's Day. I don't have kids, so I don't. So
Thank
all
you,
right,
guys.
thank
He's a
you, Megan.
selfish man.
I appreciate.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, Megan.
Bye.
Thanks, Megan.
Bye, Megan. Thanks.
Bye bye.